Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're finally doing, I guess, the final update in this whole SSSniperwolf and jacksfilms situation, man. It's been like a week since really everything first started kind of happening. We've already done an update video anyway, talking about how at the time YouTube was essentially just mocking the community for asking for Sniperwolf to be demonetized or removed from the platform. I honestly don't want to spend the first couple minutes of the video doing a recap on all this. If you want to catch up and you don't know what's going on in this whole situation quite yet, I've already made 2 videos talking about that. You can see those on my channel. You can just click, of course, right down there on the links below. Probably even come up beside this video, to be honest with you, in the recommended, but the entire YouTube community, it seems like, has kind of banded together on this one, and it's not usual for the entire community to kind of be on the same page with everything, right? But this is one of those rare instances where something happens that's just like so blatant, so obvious, that there's no real way to defend it. I mean, that's what most people would think. Of course, there's Sniperwolf fans out there that are actually defending it, but of course, half these people are like 12 years old, so I mean, who you really argued with at that point, right? You gonna sit here and go back and forward with a 4th grader? No. But anyway, there has finally been something done in this entire thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it before we talk about it here. Don't get your hopes up, okay? If you clicked on this video hoping to see YouTube finally do something right, finally take the stand, finally, you know, enforce their own rules the way that they supposedly enforce them for everybody else, we've of course talked about this. If you're looking forward to that, just don't even keep your hopes up, because you're about to be sorely disappointed. So, after this last whole week, it's been a pretty rough one for YouTube, right? I mean, SSSniperwolf doxes jacksfilms, that whole situation goes down. Over the following days, the cries for her to get kicked off the platform or be demonetized get louder and louder. There's even situations, too, that have come up where, you know, she's on, like, Omegle with 14-year-olds, having them twerk so she'll quote-unquote show her boobs to them and whatnot, right? Like, just very weird, odd behavior. Shit that supposedly, according to YouTube, is stuff that isn't supposed to fly, right? These are things that you would think come with some form of repercussions, right? Because, like, how can you actually get away with pulling up to a YouTuber's house and filming it and doxing him for millions of people? Like, I don't even know how that's something you get away with. Anyway, YouTube has finally responded. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So Team YouTube responds to the initial jacksfilms tweet about all this and says, confirming SSSniperwolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk harm our community, and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. And as you can see, this response from the community has been fast and it's been decisive, okay? Just know this, if you're not a frequent Twitter user, which if you don't use Twitter, you probably are so much mentally healthier than the rest of us, but if you're not someone who really knows Twitter etiquette or whatever, if your tweet ever has more retweets or comments than likes, that is not a good sign when it comes to what you've just said, okay? So the community immediately just jumps on this tweet, and honestly, you can see why. Now, they say she has received a temporary monetization suspension per their creator responsibility policies, okay? Let's break this whole thing down. So apparently it took YouTube, a company with tens of thousands of employees, a company that's owned by Google, you know, it took them a week to look at this whole situation and be like, yep, we should do something about this. That right there says a lot. It says a ton about YouTube and the quality of their, you know, policy, guideline, monitors, or whatever they got going on. So that's not a good sign. And I also want to point out, it just says temporary monetization suspension. They don't tell anyone how long it's going to be. You know, oh, she got a week, she got a month, she got 6 months, she got 24 hours. No one really knows. So for all we know, YouTube might have just demonetized her for the weekend and, you know, come next week, she'll be rolling right back like nothing happened. Or, you know, maybe she got 6 months. We really don't know. And ultimately, that's something that should have been communicated. Now, I get some people are going to be like, oh, we really don't need to know how long this whole ban issue thing is going on for, right? Like, that's not really any of our business. If they levied out some sort of reaction, you know, that's all that really needed to happen. I actually disagree with this. And the reason I disagree with this is, if you actually, as a company, right, let's say YouTube came out and they're like, hey, we're not taking this shit lightly, right? SSSniperwolf has been demonetized for the next 6 months, no exceptions. any creator in violation of the policy like this will serve a 6-month monetization suspension. Not only is that way more clear of an announcement to your audience that's been looking for this announcement for a week now, but it also establishes in firm, clear, constant language for everyone to see just what will happen if you do this kind of bullshit. But instead, YouTube wants to leave it ambiguous, and they want you to kind of do some guesswork to figure out who exactly did what and for how long. Because actually knowing what the rule violations and like what punishments are levied, that would make too much sense. So I also want to point out the part of the tweet that says, and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. So that right there, in my opinion, is the worst part of this entire tweet. Because say what you want, right? At least YouTube did something, you know, after all this fucking time, after mocking the community with that one tweet we talked about in the last video, updating you guys on this situation, right? After all of this, after all of the backlash, at least they finally did do something. Now, in my opinion, they didn't go far enough. In most people's opinion, they didn't go far enough and they weren't clear enough about what they are doing. But once again, the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. So let's go ahead and break this down real quick, okay? So just in case you're missing a couple pieces of the fucking puzzle here, okay? So jacksfilms on his like second channel made a couple dozen videos where he was critiquing / mocking SSSniperwolf, which by the way is allowed on YouTube. You're allowed to parody, you're allowed to mock, you're allowed to make fun of. So he did that, I guess, quote unquote, too many times. He made too many videos, which by the way is just ridiculous to even argue that as a fucking standard anyway, because this is a standard that's objective to nobody, okay? You might consider, like, let's say I make 3 videos about somebody, right? You as a viewer may say, oh, this is too much, Optimus is going too far. 3 whole videos? But to a lot of other people, I could make 40 or 50 videos, right? And it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't fucking affect anybody, because to them, there is no limit on how many times you can criticize somebody. And ultimately, as a website that is supposed to allow people to upload content however much they want and express themselves however much they want, I don't really understand why there's some sort of now sudden arbitrary limit on how many videos you can make about somebody before YouTube says, oh, you're not doing what we want you to. You're being too critical of this person stealing everybody else's content and making quote-unquote reaction videos. You're doing it too much for our liking. Please stop making fun of our queen now. Like, actually go fuck yourself. Seriously, like, this is the most pathetic fucking appeal to both sides I've ever seen. Like, this is the most pathetic attempt at fence sitting I've ever seen. So, essentially, all this tweet tells me, right, is that YouTube buckled down under the social pressure. They did something that wasn't really enough. They just kind of, you know, reflexively reacted to the pressure. They fucked up their response because of that, because they just reflexed instead of actually taking the week to think about it and do what people wanted. And then they come out and say, well, actually, we don't think either side is good in this whole thing, you know? This guy made too many videos saying that this woman was stealing content, and on our platform, that's not okay. However, the fact that she showed up to his fucking house, filmed the front of it and doxed him to millions of her followers on Instagram, and then spent the whole next week doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on it, you know, we really can't take sides in this whole thing, you know? We really can't pick which one's worse here. Like, once again, actually go fuck yourself. So, SSSniperwolf herself has issued a response to the entire situation now, go figure. You know, the whole week or whatever this has been going on. No apologies, no responses, no reaction. Actually, her and her sister, I do believe, were on social media mocking everybody because she hadn't had any action levied against her. But of course, now that she's been temporarily demonetized and YouTube isn't standing for either side, she suddenly has put out an apology. Let me start by saying I'm sorry for my recent actions. It is inexcusable. I'm sorry to jacksfilm, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. jacksfilm, while we certainly don't see eye to eye and have our differences, I'm sorry for reacting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately, not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it, respect the decision, and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. Alright, I don't know if you guys noticed that last line. It's the same line that Logan Paul pretty much used in his apology for, like, the Japanese suicide forest video. I've made a severe and serious lapse in my judgment and character. It's the same thing. no one who says that actually means it. No one who says that actually has that in mind. That's just words that they think sound professional and unique or whatever, and they think that it'll fit right in. She says her actions were inexcusable, but she spent the last week excusing them and explaining that she couldn't dox jacksfilm because she doesn't know how to dox. Because, you don't know how to speed a car. How could you speed your car? She apologizes to everybody. Obviously, it's bullshit. And talks about how she should have taken the opportunity to show people how adults really handle things. It's funny because this is the same woman who's been arrested for armed robbery and fighting/disorderly conduct, and she's trying to act like some sort of fucking, cliche conflict resolution Kevin, to quote South Park, where, oh, as adults, I think we should just talk this out. Like, dude, if it were up to you, you would have been fucking, fighting this guy in his front yard because he made too many videos about you. And now all of a sudden, I need to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I mean, that little slap on the wrist they gave me where I won't make money for 4 days now, and then I get to go right back to stealing everybody else's content and breaking the law. That really hurt my pocketbook, so now I'm gonna come out with my apology. The situation is just so fucking pathetic from every side except for jacksfilms. Like, I actually genuinely feel so bad for this guy, because not only was he doxxed to millions, the entire, Streisand effect of the situation afterwards, where 1,000 times more people probably have now looked it up and seen it and whatnot because of this. And then to have YouTube, spit in your fucking face, essentially, and then announce a decision or an action against her, and it be pretty much nothing. I don't know, that would just be so demoralizing to me, man. So, it just, once again, another pathetic excuse of a decision out of YouTube that just, it's gonna go down in history for all the wrong reasons, But I mean, it is what it is. What can be done now? I mean, YouTube's not gonna go back and fix this now. They're not gonna go and, ban her permanently or delete her channel or anything like that. They've already done what they're gonna do. This was the answer for them, and I mean, I'm sure most of us disagree with it, but it kinda just is what it is now, dude. I mean, did anyone really expect any different? Did we expect YouTube to make the right decision and give us the correct answer here? Honestly, no, not really. But if it really, I don't know, if I had to imagine what would have happened here, right? I would have pictured YouTube did nothing. So I guess this is more than I imagined. But it's like watching football, right? And your favorite team is down 10 points and they're out, it's like a 3rd and 27. And I guess YouTube is the quarterback and the halfback is appropriate action. And instead of trying to go downfield and get the first down, they just kind of hand the ball off for a 2-yard run. That's how disappointing of a fucking result this whole thing was. It's just a complete loss for the platform, the community. It's just pathetic. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @subtooptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, giving you the final update in this whole SSSniperwolf situation, and signing out.